Morning, y'all. It's Kate at Kate's Garden. Oh my God, I almost used my old channel name. I haven't had that for getting close to 2 years. Hi, it's Kate. Kate Rambles On. I'm gonna turn on a wave so we know that this is me. It's only gonna be for a second because I'm out of bed, didn't brush my hair, been doing nothing but feeding the birds and missing my kitty this morning, so. Anywho, I haven't posted an update about this. First, on a happy note, bird feeders are full this morning, and I've got about probably 9-10 different species visiting and chirping. That's my old it's an antique glass platter. I've used it for a bird bath for the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years. I don't have a stand, but I'm using that stump. So here's the garden. While we're looking at the garden, I'm going to let you know I had to put Pandora, my last kitty, to sleep this week. She had taken a really, really downward turn over the weekend. Wasn't eating, wasn't grooming herself, didn't even hold her tail up when she went in the litter box. Cried a couple nights, all night. Not that I don't think she was in pain. I think her body was failing, and she knew something was wrong, and she was scared. So Tuesday morning, my sister Paula came and picked me up and drove me to Midwest City, and I had her put to sleep. I could have gone by myself, and my sister volunteered to do it, and I was a bit of a wreck. I mean, I've had her 17 years. It's just been me and her. Well, baby kitty died just shy of exactly a year before her. 10 days difference. He died on May 22nd of 2025, and she died on May 12th of 2026. So I am petless, and I'm going to try to enjoy the... I wouldn't say she was a burden, but these last few years, or like here in Oklahoma, I couldn't really go away for days or go for a visit, or even if I was going to be overnight, because she really needed somebody. She couldn't just be left alone. And so I will be saving some money, and I will be getting to take a breather, and I'm going to just turn all my little wild birds out here into my pets. I'm going to go petless for a while. It does feel weird. I'm finding myself, especially first thing in the morning, feeling like there's something I'm forgetting to do or missing. And that is because for the last 30 years, besides getting up and going pee, number one, it was to feed the cats and clean their cat box and spend quality time with them before I went to work or started my day. And this week I just realized I'm getting up about half hour too early. But it's going to be an adjustment. Like I said, this will be the first time as an adult. I'm 57, so it'll be the first time in over 30 years that I haven't had a creature or human, someone that I had to come home to, take care of, and that was a priority. I've always had pets, but I'm going to take a break. So I moved this feeder here. Squirrels have been emptying it. I mean, everything that gets spilled, the birds eat, they eat, but it just ticks me off. So I got a new little feeder last night that holds a variety of sizes. I didn't want to go more than a day without decent feeder because I didn't want my painted bunnies to go somewhere else. And I still have these, my little plastic sheep ones I got over the winter for that reason, because they were tube feeders and snow couldn't, build up on them, and if they got frozen or cracked or broken, it was no loss. But the squirrels have chewed a peg off this one, and one of the little ports is just a hole. It's still partially there, so the seed's not just pouring out, but what you gotta do? It's still got the frame, so it keeps the seed from pouring out. But So they have that little plastic water dish, and I clean it and fill it a couple times a day, but we need something bigger. And I had a jay this morning land up on this branch right here and yell at me. And I think he was saying he wanted a bath, so I don't know. The woodpecker block. There was a suet cake in there last night, and the squirrels have managed to eat it. Oh. I kept hoping that a chickadee or something would use this little birdhouse, but we'll see. The wind's been blowing up. We've had some high winds. So here is coreopsis. This, which looks a lot like zinnia, but it's not. This is the plains coreopsis, and it'll probably be yellow too. Could be white. I think there's a couple colors it could be. So this is what they call lance leaf because of the shape. Coreopsis. And the prairie rocket is right here, and I think it's done. I only had one of those. So anyway, I know I'm kind of jumping around. Here's the volunteer butternut squash patch. I don't know if the tomato plant over there will take off, but you can see where I've thrown birdseed that the grass is filling in a bit. So I've got some little raw peanuts here for the squirrels and crows and bigger birds. And I'm going to get a little squirrel type feeder. See if I can't keep them off my bird feeders, but you know. So, anywho, we'll take a quick peek at the garden. I'm going to water it in a minute, but I wanted to do this first. I know, I just don't want to talk too much about Pandy being gone. It just broke my heart, but that's what I owed her. You know, they depend on us to. We're going to keep them as pets, and we have to. You treat them like family. She was like my child, and I couldn't let her suffer or get to a point she was suffering. So these are my zucchini. I just had one come up in the middle, beginning of last week, and I'm like, oh, because they only had like 10 seeds, because I'd ordered them in a special. And a couple days ago, there was a whole bunch of them. I was like, oh my goodness. So the one in the middle is starting to get its second leaf. Once they all get their second to third leaf, I'll start transplanting them. And I think my neighbors down at the end where the white van is, Brooke and Josh will take a couple of them. Because I hate to see them go to waste. I've got several more of those bags. I'm going to use one of the bags for a rose bush my brother gave me, at least for this first year. See if it even survives, because it's been in its little wrapper for a while. And I don't want to go buy a $50, $60 great big nice rose planter for a rose bush and it not live. Not that I wouldn't find something to put in that planter pretty quickly, but it's not an expenditure I want to deal with right now. So here's the tomatoes. This one has been looking kind of sad and floppy over, so I'm probably going to pull this one out. There's a couple of them, which I need to thin them anyway. I didn't think they would all survive this long. So they've had blooms, but we've had some really harsh heat, so they look a little sad on the tips. And this one's starting to fall over already, so I'll probably not pulling it out. Cool. Here's the jalapenos. This should be a red bell pepper when it grows up. Where's the pepper? Jeez, I can't see what I'm doing right there. This is going to be the orange red pepper, and it doesn't have any babies on it yet. But I do have one of the mammoth jalapenos. I'm not sure how big it's going to get. I'm going to let it get pretty big. I like them when they start to turn reddish too, but oh my goodness. Look what we discovered just now this morning. Oh, our first wee little celebrity tomato. There's the radishes. I'm not a big radish fan. I may pick these young, but you can see they're still maybe as big as my fingernail. It's pretty little. And I got tiny hands. So here's the green beans. And these are supposed to land with bush bean, but I don't know if I got my beans mixed up because this one's wasn't a vine. So I had some sticks saved up, but I think I'm going to grab some steaks at the dollar store. I saw they had some nice wooden stakes, and then I already have some green mesh, and I'm going to make a little kind of teepee here in the middle, more like a pup tent looking thing with it, or at least maybe 3 stakes per end, I don't know. And these guys just might need just a few stakes. I don't think they're going to need the mesh, but we'll see. But there's the pickling cucumber. These slicers here have finally started kicking off their second leaf. They're going so slow, but that's fine. It has, with these past cold, really cool spells we've had, it's probably good that they didn't all get a little higher and get damaged. Their first baby leaves look a little sad, but I'm going to go get some granule fertilizer for the garden. Because I have liquid that I use a lot, but I don't have a sprayer attachment thing for my hose, and to measure it out in smaller amounts and then come over here with pitcher after pitcher, or watering can after watering can full of water. I'm not going to do it. So after I get awake and I finish enjoying the birds and it starts to get too warm to just sit outside, I've got to go to Tractor Supply and refill my empty canister. Not that I go to them a lot in the summer, but I'd rather have it now. And I got a really nice paycheck this time. I got a lot of tips, but I got some overtime. And my raise was reflected on this paycheck for the first time, so. Anyway, yeah, so Pandy's gone to join Chaos and Tiger and all my past little babies, and it's just been hard. I know I did the right thing, and I'm at peace at that right now. It's just so quiet. I think these are the first words I've spoken out loud since I got home yesterday, which it's only 7:30 in the morning, so I haven't even been home 12 hours. I put into 11 and a half, 12-hour days back to back this week. I was off Tuesday, and I was hoping that, I'd have extra jobs. And I even volunteered to do a clean today if I needed to, because I didn't want to lose a full day pay. But, oh yeah, I made up for that in getting 40 hours in 4 days, so, or 39.28, whatever, that's how many hours I've worked in the 4 days of this week, so, yeah, next week's going to be pretty full, too, so, yeah, anyway, so, so, why I've got some extra money in the bank, I'm going to go ahead and fill up that tank. I need to go get some soil. My brother gifted me a little bird rose bush. So like I said, I'm going to put it in one of my garden bags. And I've got 2 more, or 3 more. So I can put the rose, and then I can divide the zucchini. And it takes a full 40-pound, about 30 pounds to 40 pounds of soil per bag. It just depends on how deep. But for the rose bush, I'm going to have to fill it to the top and at least get its roots started. And then if it takes off and it's going to survive. But he just gave it to me weekend before last here just in the hot summer. I don't know how well it's going to take off to be just planted now. But it we can try it. It's better than it staying in this little plastic sleeve. It's, it's just not an expensive rose bush, but a little floribunda, I think, that my brother picked up for me. We'll take a look. Just because now I'm curious, not that any of you guys really care what kind of or breed of rose it is. But it was nice because it's called a sundowner, and it's a fragrant, large golden orange blooms with singly and in large clusters. So, yeah. So, I think they kind of picked it up from me, and I just picked it up from some, I don't know, Southern, old world, different. I don't know. It's just something that I've always done. Is when I go to visit somebody, or I've been, not just if I'm when I've been invited to visit somewhere, I always take a hostess gift. I always bring the hostess something, flowers, a little keepsake, just whatever, And usually I bring them something like flowers, something that people don't always just have. They don't always get for themselves, and just as a hostess gift. It's just, can't say it's how I was raised, but it's kind of how I've raised myself my whole life. A kind of an older-fashioned way of politeness, chivalry, I don't know, respect. It's just, I also still send people handwritten thank you cards. Haven't got a lot of gifts in a long time, but I do handwritten thank you cards. I don't just text them, and if they do something for me or go out of their way, just, my brother took me to the Onion Burger Festival in El Reno for a late birthday gift, It's like, I send thank yous. It's just, people forget that, it's an old way of fashioned way of doing it. It costs you 70 cents a stamp now, and you have to take the time to actually write it out, and I still write cursive. I mean, it's kind of a mix of print and cursive as I've got older, but a big magic part of that is not that piece of paper you give to them, but the fact that you took time and to write down your words and, set aside a moment other than just using your thumb and pressing a bunch of keys on your phone while you're in the middle of scrolling or watching YouTube videos, It's a conscious effort put in to saying thank you, and I think that's the best way to do it. So anyway, we're looking at some flowers here. I don't want to get back up because the sun will be on my highs, and I am just so tired. I just couldn't sleep any longer. I couldn't go to bed till midnight, and I was up by 5:30. So down there at the end, I believe it's going to be a zinnia, but there's some little coreopsis, not dianthus. I'm sorry, in that white glass, that white stone planter, and then there's some more dianthus. I believe this is million bells. So I don't think it's million bells, but it's similar to million bells and petunias. Dum da dum dum. And then those colored things you see right now are little white things are lights. But you can see that this first planter over here. Sorry, on the left of your screen, that has portulaca, and it's got those little pink dots there are blooms fixing to open, and there's purslane beside it. And then right here is some more portulaca, or rose moss, some people refer to it. Ooh. Sorry, I'm turning my camera. I don't think it's going to film right. Excuse my cough. I'm still fighting off this summer cold. I had a really bad last weekend, and it's just the drainage going down my throat. And I think at night, so I'm swelling my lungs. I've had some coughing. It's something that feels like it's kind of like a phlegmy, but it's so thin you can't really cough it out, but it's between your lung. It feels like it's between my Adam's apple and my lungs. And that's what I have, an Adam's apple, but in my throat, So, yeah, just the disruption, the quiet in the house, and I like my patterns and routines as I've gotten older. It's comforting, it's consistent, I get things done. So when you just say that the campers are very, very clean. I have some new walking room. You guys want to take a look how it looks different? Because I've never been in this camper without. Started out with both cats, and then, it was just Pandy and I. So, yeah, I use my bear box. In case any bears come through here, they can't get in there to get my hammock. Yeah, that's what's in there now. And my little sitting area. I want to, maybe, after I finish paying my bills, I'll order a new hammock swing on a stand this weekend. We don't know. It's kind of dark in here. Oh my gosh, it's more than kind of dark, but it is. Ta-da! I no longer have anything blocking the walkway to my cabinets. I was going to set it outside this week and use it for a plant stand and like a side table, but I didn't want the wood to get damaged. So I actually moved it over here because it helps if my sister comes to visit or anyone that extra step up, because my dining area is so was tall. This was the cushion for it. I washed it. I had to wash a lot of things that she had tinkled and tracked stuff on, and so right now I'm just using it for bread and chips, tissue. It's a planter my sister gave me. I think I'm going to try to find something when I go to Tractor Supply. I got to get soil too, so I'm basically in the garden center in town. It's called Terracotta, and find something pretty to put in a planter my sister gave me for my birthday. So yeah, this is just my work clothes. I keep them separate so I don't have to dig in my drawers. Same old, but just more space. And I'm really, part of me is really debating, I don't want to get a small storage unit just for that mattress. But I'm kind of hating the mattress a bit. Sorry, I got a bum nose. It's memory foam to me. And I have a cooling bamboo cover on it, but I don't know. I just have never been a huge memory foam fan. I could probably, if I moved all my books, and I could probably angle it, like I said, and fold up the Murphy bed. But it's such a heavier mattress than the mattress that would be normally on the Murphy bed. So I just hate a Murphy bed. It just takes up so much room, and I don't like my bed being on display all the time. It's not made. It's been, even with the AC on, I'm so hot at night, I end up stripping down to my undies and just sleeping under a sheet. And if I get a little chilly, I just grab a little throw. But yeah, so most of you have seen it. If you haven't seen it in a while, home sweet home. So anyway, we're gonna go back outside now. But yeah, so Tuesday morning is when I had to have her put to sleep. And then I came home and I washed the rugs and the covers that I had covered the bed with so that she didn't, get the part that I sleep on dirty. And then I, vacuumed and I mopped the floors and just kept busy. And that wasn't too bad, but, oh yeah, chickadee. Hi. She's like, she's back outside. They've gotten pretty used to me. They're getting to know me. They've chose my yard to be their feeding station, and of course I'm indulging them, and they're becoming dependent on me. But I keep food out here 24/7 year-round, so I think these are just going to be my little pets for now. There's a couple chickadees you can see moving there, and there's a little white-capped chickadee on top of the woodpecker block, which is, all kinds of seeds and nuts. Well, the nuthatches do a bit, but the chickadees really like those bird blocks. They're so hard, and they got such tiny little beaks to peck on something that hard. But yeah, it's going back and forth from the bird block to a little branch right here in front of me, and then right back to the bird block. They don't mind my talking. I just have to move slow. And because I'm ADD, I tend to, my mind wanders and I get up and I do stuff. I'm always constantly multitasking. I don't have the hyperactive issue, but sometimes I squirrel it. So I call it, I'm like, oh, squirrel, I'm off looking somewhere else. So now he's down on that stump, and I usually put some seed down on the stump, and I haven't. So I think I'm going to put a couple handfuls down on those little stumps. It's always a good little platform for the bigger birds, the ground birds, and the little birds, so that they're not all fighting over, a perch on the feeder. It's only in the winter that I see the feeders really full, like, 3 or 4 birds. Get back. Yum, yum. So we're just going to listen to the birds for a minute. To close out this video, I just wanted to kind of update you, and maybe I'll make another one tomorrow. We're supposed to maybe have some storms. Maybe if we have a good thunderstorm, I'll get some video of it. Or go live in the middle of it. But then, yeah. most likely then I would lose my Wi-Fi. And this little shepherd's pole feeding station is always a work in progress. Right now it's got it's got the wind chime and it's got a little light thing. The solar light has gone out, and every now and then I'll set a tea light in it, but it's something that I bought years ago through a charity for cats, and yeah, I might find a different place for it, because now it's just more something to look at. I may hang it back over here in one of these little trees. And either get another plant or another feeder for this little feeding station. Maybe something, maybe another hummingbird feeder, actually. I've had a lot of them this morning already. 2 or 3 of them just chasing each other around and taking turns on the hummingbird feeder. Okay. So the chickadee is telling everyone that there's a new feeder. It took them a few minutes before they got on the little greenhouse feeder, but it's metal. A squirrel can get on it, but it can't chew through it. When this other blue jays with this little plastic feeder here finally bites the dust. I have one on Amazon sitting in my cart I want to get. It's kind of shaped like that. It's green, but it's got it's where the tube is inside, and then it has like a little cage around it. So if a squirrel gets on it, is this one with just a cage? The squirrel can't get to it, or is it the one where it slides down? I think it slides down just a little bit too. If anything of weight, clings to it, gets on the outside of it, it makes it shut the little feeding door. So they do say sometimes, chickadee dee dee, chickadee dee. He's telling them off. Hey guys, got breakfast here. I don't know if we can even see them. There's a couple of them hopping around here. But the sun's just peeking up. I always have my early birds that are here out here with me before the sun comes up. But now you can really hear them. I'm just going to prop this up at the garden. Oh, there's the downy woodpecker. He's back up in the tree now. He was right up there. He's going to work his way down over here to the woodpecker block. And there's a little black-capped chickadee sitting on it. So I didn't bring my tripod out or anything, so I'm going to try to prop y'all a little bit. And I'm going to go put some feed on those little stumps. I'm trying not to get myself on camera much because that's very frightening. That's where I'm going. I've also got my pajama shorty shorts on, and I don't want people to see that. the window where I'd had it. Nobody was eating on it, but I think I'm going to move it to a different spot. No, that might be encouraging birds to poop on me, but I don't want to block the window somewhere else. Alright, y'all. Y'all want to go see where I put it? So the morning glories are really climbing up that tomato cage. And then I had a cheap Dollar Tree flag stand that doesn't have its prong, it's a piece of crap. So I just put it in the ground as something extra, like to anchor and for it to climb. Volunteer sunflower, volunteer sunflower. Volunteer sunflower, volunteer sunflower. You go see, just go see right for the feeder. I'm looking forward to this portulaca blooming. I love moss rose, and they're so tough. If you don't, it's so hot here in Oklahoma. If you don't water them, they survive. They're tough little things. Purslane does well too. There's places in the south, deep south, around New Orleans and bayou areas where they grow in the cracks in town, in the Garden District in New Orleans. I've seen them, growing in the crack of a sidewalk. And there's different varieties of purslane, and I put a pink variety here and a kind of a fiery orange yellow one, so it'll be pretty. I moved my hibiscus. I thought it needed more sun and less. I don't know. I kept finding little bud heads on the ground. I just wonder if squirrels or something were popping them off. So hopefully they'll bloom. For some reason, these marigolds are just looking sad. I don't know if they got too cold one evening. That's how they're acting. But if they die out, they die out. Someone gave it to me. So the sage has already bloomed. Here's the salvia. It's got a few blooms left. I pinched off the dead ones, so it should be making some new ones. The English peas are not doing well. I'm starting to get a few little peas, but we're starting to get hot quick, so I don't know how much they'll make it. We've had those cool nights, so they got a little too much there. And yeah, I got to get more soil. These transplanted. Even if I do the one here, I'm going to have to build up the soil or something to keep the sides up. And that's why you should feel them pretty full. But it's nice because these bags, you can move things around. So these marigolds in here are doing fine. Here's Million Bells. See how little they are. There. And another volunteer sunflower. Right there. Another one right there. And one right there. And these are just from the birds. And because these planters, I didn't take the dirt out this winter. I left the dirt in them from last summer because I had them separated and used them individually as planters. And some of you might remember that. But to keep them from blowing away and weather from affecting them, I left the soil in there and then revamped the soil and reused it. So, anyway, see, I squirreled until I got lost of what they're doing. Had to buy a new sprayer head. There. I had it over here, but for a while, but I don't like it blocking my view if I want to look out that window. I don't ever look out this window, and it's kind of a private little corner area, so something might want to nibble on it. This is my old sprayer head. I loved it, but I've had it like 7 years. I've drug it around, and yeah, it's had seen better days. Okay. We just scared off a tufted titmouse. See, my squirrel. I'm always really good about putting my stuff back. You know, I'm one of those people who I don't leave gates open and I don't leave stuff laying out around. Everything has a place and it drives me crazy if it's not in its place. I mean, I can be sloppy every now and then, but it doesn't last very long. So, let's see. We're going to be quiet here and we'll sit still. We'll see if the birds get more chatty. Oh my gosh, we're at 36 minutes. So, we're going to end this. I hope you've been able to listen to the birds in the background and continue to talk with me and over me. And thanks for listening, guys. And just keep me in your thoughts that, I can quickly adjust to taking care of only me. All right? And we'll talk again soon. Love you guys. Miss ya. Have a great weekend. Bye.